What's up, everybody? It's Cassidy and Stirp here. Welcome to my channel. This is the Cassidy and Stirrup review of Supergirl. Spoiler review, might I add. Firstly, before I dive into this movie and spoil all the eggs in the basket, we're leaving no egg unhatched. I have to say this. In accordance to my grading system now for my channel, moving forward, I will be doing a movie critic review and a general audience movie going review, okay? Because it seems like nowadays those two things cannot be differentiated. Being a movie critic, on YouTube, and I've been doing it for almost a couple of years now, on my first channel, now to my second channel now, you build up. Being a movie critic can be so toxic and so infuriating sometimes, because it can honestly ruin your movie going experience, because all I know is critique movie. What could they have done better? How is the villain properly structured? Is the pacing epic? Is the visuals lining up? Is this, is that? You're questioning and you're pinpointing, nitpicking, critiquing every little aspect of a film, thus eventually ruining your movie experience. Because that is what you sacrifice when you become a movie critic. You sacrifice the brain of a movie goer. It's like you're not just a gullible student loving your assignments and homework. You are a metaphysical scientist. You're a rocket scientist. You need to find all these equations, deal with all these formulas. You sacrifice the love of just watching a film and having the fun with family, even yourself, once you become a movie critic. And what I'm seeing a lot of, and I gotta say this, guys, I'm gonna get into the spoiler review very soon. I just have to get this off my chest because it needs to be exposed. It's fine if you watch Tyrone Magnus. It's fine if you watch Nerdrotic, Angry Joe, Jeremy Johns, Critical Drinker, John Campia, 3C Films, Soups, whatever have you. Dan Murnell or Merle, if that's his name, Robert Burnett, all these people that I grew up watching all these other things, inspiring me to become a movie critic. But now that I'm in that driver's seat, I also do see how toxic it can be to be a movie critic, because once you're critical about everything, 9 times out of 10, you're going to damn near hate everything, because nothing can compare to one of the greatest movies that you ever seen in the past. You compare it to all the modern movies that cannot hold a candle to it. And I also see a bunch of grifters and a lot of fat, filthy freaks online that are bashing Supergirl every chance they get. And mind you, Supergirl is not a perfect film. It's damn near not even a good film. It's mediocre to trash, depending on your standards of a movie. But every time I go on YouTube, I see a bunch of these fat, neck-bearded, virgin incel freaks that they're literally making a Supergirl movie they're literally making a Supergirl video every day. There's people on YouTube making a Supergirl video twice a day, 3 times a day, bashing the film, reporting the bombing, reporting the tanking, reporting the metrics, reporting the numbers. Even, James Gunn, cock riders do that a lot. They report this, report that. They base their whole life around this. And I'm like, dude, do you have a life? Again, Supergirl, I'm going to give you my movie critic grade right now. Supergirl for me gets a C+. But as a movie goer experience, I could give it a B-. It did its job. The thing is, I get so upset seeing movie critics, bro, make a video every day bashing the film more. And they're only, guys, listen to this. These so-called movie critics on YouTube only make all these negative videos because they know negativity brings likes, it brings clicks, it brings money, it brings all the sheep that are going to sit there and fill their head up with all this stupid negative nonsense about a movie that they're not going to watch, or they already watched and they don't like it as well. So they're like, "Oh, I hate the movie. He hates the movie. Let's have a hate-a-thon." I understand if you do a movie review, a spoiler review, but really, guys, a Supergirl bashing video twice a day, every day, pick a different subject, a different topic. Talk about other films. And I get it. That's their channel. That's their opinion. But I'm just saying, when you see that, I'm like, all right, you've already have in your mind that you were not going to like this movie. You thought it was trash. And that's when I came to the forefront with my review and said, I give it that C+ as a movie critic, and I give it that B- as a moviegoer, because in all honesty, bro, Supergirl is truly not trash, but it's not a good film whatsoever. It's in the middle of the road, depending on your standards. Yet again, if you're a regular moviegoer just wanting to have fun, you can love this movie. There are people that love Supergirl. And there are more anal moviegoers that have certain standards to their movie-going experience, and they'll say, it was alright movie. And then you have the movie critics that say, this movie is trash, it's dog crap, it is terrible, it's horrible, it's no coming back, the DCU is dead. I'm like, dude, can you calm down? Do people not realize that the second movie in the MCU, John Campea brought it up, and I was just thinking about it as well. The second movie in the MCU is The Incredible Hulk. Did not do good whatsoever, was not getting good review. And honestly, to me, don't ask me about Rotten Tomatoes, because to me, Rotten Tomatoes is somewhat kind of bought. Rotten Tomatoes is somewhat kind of biased in certain areas. It's whoever is giving the biggest bid to Rotten Tomatoes. You hear me? So even though I do see Rotten Tomatoes is somewhat legitimate, I'm still kind of on the fence with Rotten Tomatoes. So I don't always believe every single critic score, audience score that I see on Rotten Tomatoes. But back to The Incredible Hulk. Wasn't really that much well. You had Iron Man first. Iron Man being one of the greatest MCU movies of all time. I'm going to give a freak what nobody says. And then you have the second film, The Incredible Hulk. Did not do good. And you know what's funny? I love The Incredible Hulk, mother freaker. I love that movie to death, dude. I got it on DVD, all that good stuff. I love Abomination and Incredible Hulk. I want a real fight. I remember when he was human? I think I need more. I need more, and I want what's in him. I need it right now. I need more. And then, bro, the epic battle at the end, dude. This man had car boxing gloves. It's like, what more can you ask for as a Incredible Hulk fan and just a movie-going experience? Kind of in the same realm of Supergirl. Supergirl, you know what I'm saying? She's flying around. She's kicking ass, taking names. Lobo's coming through. Ow! I'm going to hack him up. I'm going to do what I'm going to do. Lobo's coming through, causing destruction. And again, I'm not asking for a Christopher Nolan, Martin Scorsese script from a movie that I already know that's going to be subpar. But honestly, to me, again, even though I love The Incredible Hulk way more than Supergirl, I see Supergirl being a little bit below Incredible Hulk, still having that fun aspect of it, but it's not winning any Oscars. It's just not. So, and then let's not get started, y'all. I'm coming for you now, Snyder Cult. As much as I love Zack Snyder, I have a Man of Steel tattoo on my arm. I love Man of Steel. I love BVS. But here we go. BVS being the second film. BVS as a script in itself is a travesty and it's dog crap. But the action is glorious. It all depends, again, on the standards. The people love BVS. They worship that film. You see Doomsday / Zod. So you get not only the desecration of Superman as a moralistic way and his emotions and how people didn't like that, and then you also get the death of Superman within the second film. I'm like, why do they do... I'm like, what? Why the hell did they do that? I still have a guilty pleasure love for BVS, but it's like, why? And BVS divided the fandom in half, but yet you didn't really see people... You saw a very few calling for, WB to pull the plug on Zack Snyder, but they didn't do that. He still had his few films afterwards. He still had his full-fledged universe, even though the Snyder Cut still leaves more to be held or more to be had. But again, he still had a good amount of films after that. You know what I'm saying? Or his universe still kind of delved in and had a few more films after that. the DCEU. So now looking at this, it's like, okay, Supergirl is about to fully, truly tank and is going to lose WB a lot of money. But I'm not going to say they're going to call for the death of the DCU on its second film. No matter how much I didn't really love Superman, I could still admit that Superman did leave good groundwork and was a decent start. And it did pretty decent domestically, pretty not as good really internationally, but it did very well domestically, decent internationally. It was still a decent, good foundational standpoint for the DCU. And then, like I said, when it came to Incredible Hulk and BVS, here comes a second film. It's like history repeats itself. Incredible Hulk wasn't that much really great, really received. BVS was damn near hated, but still kind of loved. And now you got Supergirl, the second rebooted universe for the DCU, following suit, being as divisive as BVS and as hated as BVS at this point. But now people are just automatically ready to just write off the DCU, which I understand. But at the same time, I'm also like, dude, stop riding so high on the hate bandwagon for James Gunn. I think it's mainly because just people just hate James Gunn and they want him gone. But as a whole, to see what the universe is going to be, I'm not going to call for its death. I'm not the biggest James Gunn DCU fan, but I'm a big James Gunn Marvel fan. I love Guardians of the Galaxy. I even had fun watching the Suicide Squad, dude. It's not the greatest film ever, but I still had a decent time watching his Suicide Squad. And Scooby-Doo. He was a part of Scooby-Doo. I love Scooby-Doo. So that's what I want to say in regards to that, man. Like, calm down with the hate, dude. Calm down with the utter bashing hate. Again, as a general movie audience score, I give Supergirl a C+. But as a general audience score, I give Supergirl a B-. But as a movie critic, I give it a C+, because I already went in the movie thinking it was going to be utter, abysmal, sewage crap. But surprisingly, it really wasn't as bad as I thought it was going to be. That's why I was a little optimistic after I left the theater. I was like, damn, I kind of liked that a little bit more than Superman. And here's why. Let me explain for why I liked Supergirl a little bit more than Superman. 2025. Now we're going to delve into spoiler talk. So at the beginning of the movie, you have, Ruth Ye and her family. Her family gets killed in front of her. Following suit as the comics from Tom King, from Supergirl Woman of Tomorrow. A lot of people were saying how and you could tell, bro, the bads in this film is the editing, the runtime, and yet the grim, low graded color grading of the movie due to, Woman of Tomorrow, the comic being so colorful. I get what they were going for, but again, once you're adapting a movie in regards to a comic, at this point, it's like you're setting yourself up for failure if you don't make it as close to the comic as possible. When you are using source material from an already existing comic or an already existing story, those fans and certain people are going to be looking to you with heat vision, Kryptonian eyes, saying, this better be as close to the lore and the story as possible, or I'm going to blast your freaking brains out your ass with this heat vision. So it's like you're already kind of putting yourself in a corner. If this was an original story, I'd have been like, all right, good. We're hitting the ground running. It's an original story. No, not really. Now there's no expectations whatsoever. But since you base this off the Tom King comic, especially comic fans, comic freaks, they're going to come running down your throat if it doesn't match their standards in reflection to that comic. But in the beginning, you see Ruth Ye, her family gets killed in front of her. A lot of people did not understand the part of where the brother jumped out in front of Ruth Ye. And again, it shows the innocence of them being children and the brother just having fun with his sister. He's looking at his sister, Ruth Ye, who's looking at their parents. But in the angle that he's looking at her, he can't see what's happening in the back, because he's facing his sister, facing away from Krem, his goons, and his parents. So he's, he's playing with, he jumped out and was like, boo, boo or rah to Ruthier, because that's, that's, I kind of assume that's how they play with each other. And once he did that, he kind of, he ticked off Krem and kind of spotted in Krem kind of as instinct. This is what I said when it came to Krem being such a one-dimensional bad villain, but such a fun, evil, sadistic villain that pushes the plot forward and gets the job done in that aspect. But he's not memorable, obviously. But he's just such a loose cannon. He just saw, as soon as he heard something move, he just kills it instantly. So he throws his little battle axe in the back of his brother. The brother drops dead. Again, I can give this movie balls. As messy as people can think about trafficking, young women, we're not going to talk about that, because boy, does that reflect the real world as well. Child trafficking and just killing children. I'm like, yo, this guy he's a demon. He's the devil incarnate right now. Just with no backstory and no filler to him, no nothing. But when he killed the brother like that, I was like, all right, this guy, he's disgusting. It gets the point across that he's sadistic. So after that happened to the brother, you see the mom yell and break down, and then he just makes quick work of, the father and the mother. And obviously he went to their place because Ruthier's dad is good with, making weapons of sorts. He made the sword. He's basically, you could say, a universally well-known swordsmith in the universe, I would assume. So he makes great weapons. He wanted the weapons. Krem wanted the weapons. But first he wanted to have pie. Again, he's sadistic. He's a loose cannon. He doesn't care. He was going to kill them off rip regardless if everything went according to plan and the brother didn't come out. And something that was off with that part as well is it's like he didn't really acknowledge Ruthier. I would assume that he did see Ruthier just standing there in the hallway, but didn't kill her as well. It's like you have to answer for those type of plot holes in the movie, because you have nitpicky critics and nitpicky even moviegoers that's going to point that out and say, well, why didn't he just kill Ruthier? Because, guys, she has to live to push the plot forward. That's a part of the story. But that could have been explained better. And then after that, I wanted to see a scene of Ruthier, just really losing it, showing me that she just saw her family died. I wanted her to break down. It's kind of, okay, her family's dead, let's move forward. I'm like, yo, let it simmer and sit for a little bit. That is one of the worst parts of this movie, the editing, the runtime, and just the empty, shallow storytelling and execution that was given to us in regards, because Anna Nogueira, it's funny that people can honestly just want to blame her script, but at the end of the day, movie critics should know, and if moviegoers don't know, there's so much that goes into movies, it's not even funny. Screenwriters, executives, the director, the bigwigs that run the company, that want to get their hands on it, that want to have an input. There's so many components and variables to a movie being good and a movie's final product. I can't truly 100% blame Anna for why bad. The script, because can you imagine picking up a script and you're reading it and you're like, oh my gosh, dude, this script is really good. This is a decent script. Give it to the director. Let them lay out the groundwork. And then you see the execution of said script in the movie. And then you watch the movie and you're like, dude, I read the script. The script was great, but this movie's kind of meh, bro. This movie's bad. It's mediocre. That can happen. So I can't really sit here and say it's 1000% Anna's fault. Everybody's hand is in the pot to blame for the movie not being well received. And also, I can also blame the onslaught bandwagon hate train online. It's on X, it's on YouTube. Every single day I see a new video, I see a new post bashing Supergirl, destroying the Supergirl. It's doing bad, it's doing terrible. DCU's dead. I'm like, dude, ma'am, lady, do you have a life? We get it's not doing good. And mind you, I already said with Millie Alcock, the things that she said on the red carpet and with interviewers, it didn't make it better. Dude, again, there needs to be PR contracts with these actors and actresses moving forward. I'm telling you right now. Because if they think that their words politically, sexually, personally, comic based, informationally, if they don't think that what they say on these carpets and interviews won't hurt the movie, you got another thing coming. Besides, Rachel Zegler being the perfect reflection to what Millie Alcock has done. But besides that, let's get back to the movie. So, Ruthie's family's dead. Again, I wish that would have been explored more, simmered more. I wish we could have seen beautiful scenes with them before they were taken out and killed. You know what I'm saying? So we can feel for the moment of them actually getting just taken out instead of here's their family, here's the planet. Movie starts out firstly, with Supergirl, she's partying, drinking, whatever, whatnot. Goes to Ruthie, loses her family, bam, bam. Ruthie is at the bar. Just like the comic, she's at the bar looking for a perfect suitor to help her get vengeance on Krem of the Yellow Hills. Because he's killed my family and my father. She speaks of speaks of royalty, in regards to his masterclass of weapon creating, I would assume. And then, you see the big alien just takes her sword. He's like, I don't have to do, you're this little girl, get this girl up out of here. And I like that because you could see that, Ruthie has that young, spunky, but not really smart, mindset. Because if you think about it, it kind of goes hand in hand and perfect. Because she just lost her family, so all she sees tunnel vision is Krem. She's not thinking about the things that she's doing, the things that she's saying. She's just straight tunnel vision on Krem. I want Krem dead. Even if I don't even make it, I just want him dead. So she wasn't thinking, she wasn't really thinking thoroughly. And also she's young. She's young, dumb, and full of revenge. Get your mind out of the gutter, guys. I probably, you guys probably thought I was going to say that, but I'm not. But she's young, dumb, and full of revenge. So that is the depiction of what you get with Ruthie. So I'm like, I get it. Yes, it's annoying. Yes, it's stupid, but I get it. It's a regular trope. So the big alien takes the sword as like, little girl, give me that. Give me that weapon. Like, I don't have to do any of your bidding. I'm going to just take the weapon from you. Supergirl, she's at the same bar. She's drinking, just like the comic, whatever. She comes out and she beats up the big alien guy, basically, which was a sloppy fight, you know what I'm saying? Because, again, she's drunk. She's on a planet with the red sun. Another issue that was understandable to me, but sometimes you have to spoon feed the audience. And not only that, you have to make up a good equation to give to the movie critic scientist to make them understand why her powers are, and her power comes in waves and it fluctuates. So the way that I get and understand how Millie Alcock Supergirl's powers work with Red Suns, it doesn't entirely, it takes away her powers, but not entirely, I guess. In a way, it's kind of like it comes and goes. I would say it doesn't completely. It takes away her powers. You could say it takes away her power, 80% of her power. 90%, if anything. That's what I was getting from that, because she was getting her ass beat by this big, monster, even though she kind of gave it a good punch, and he felt it. So when she's on the Red Sun, I'm thinking her powers are like this. It's not a full takeaway. It's just a up and down situation, but at a low base. So she still has a little bit of juice, but most of her cup is empty. But she has a tiny bit of juice. So that's how I expected that, because a lot of people got annoyed by her the level of her power set in regards to, in the movie. So, and then, and this is again where it's funny, because even though Craig Gillespie, or Craig Gillespie, if I'm saying his name correct, even though he directed this movie, yes, the movie does feel a lot You know that James Gunn had somewhat of a say in this movie. We all know James Gunn's style. It's like, James, you can't hide it from us, buddy. You can't hide. I know that James had a hand in it, especially with the comedy and especially with the certain Guardian Galaxy isms in the movies. Which again, I saw it, I knew it. He's the co-CEO, so I expected to see that in the movie. So that didn't really grind my gears as much. Yes, it could be annoying because you want it to be a different depiction. You want it to feel nothing like Guardians of the Galaxy, but we all knew it was gonna feel a little bit like Guardians of the Galaxy. It didn't feel like it all the way. It just felt like it a little bit. Certain aspects, you're like, all right, that's Guardians of the Galaxy right there. But yeah, so and then Crypto bites the big alien guy in the balls. You know, she hits him with his little battle hammer or whatever that was, battle baton or whatnot, and knocks the alien out. I don't know if she killed the alien. I don't know if she killed him or not, but hey man, that's one thing I liked about Kara, bro. She don't play games, boy. Even though yes, she represents or she's wearing the S, the symbol, the House of L, the symbol of hope. I love that's how flawed her character is, and you'll see that throughout the movie. And then so also you see that within the same bar, or no, actually no. Basically after this situation, um, you know, the girl's following her. You know, she wants Supergirl to, hey man, you fought really decent back there. Can you help me on my journey, on my adventure to avenge my father? I'll give you the sword, yada yada. She's annoying. She's like, get away from me, little girl. I don't want anything to do with it. I'm sorry about your family, whatever, whatever. So Kara's back on her ship. And again, I would say what this movie fails to connect is with a young girl audience, honestly, because if you're a mother or father, it's like for guys, for little kids, for little boys, it's like whatever. But would you? It's like I don't know if this is definitely not in some households. I definitely for me, if I had a daughter, I wouldn't honestly bring her to see this movie because again, the depiction and style and the story, the Tom King story of Supergirl being depressed, drunk, you know what I'm saying, just down on her luck. It's like you would want to you would be questioning to bring your daughter to see this film, your young daughter, because even though at the end she, you know, is built up and rises to the occasion and finally becomes, you know, the woman that she was always meant to be and all that other good stuff, it does show her being, you know, drunk, belligerent, very loose, very dirty, very grimy, because again, that is the severe depiction of pure grief. Again, I got to keep saying this, and this movie connected me on that level as well because my brother died at a young age, and dude, I'm gonna get personal, and I don't care what anybody thinks because it's gonna be said. I was drinking, bro. I didn't care about life at all once my brother died. I didn't give a damn about anything. I was like, you're on a highway to hell. It's like you just don't care. You don't care. And in Kara's case, I still have in my eyes, Kara case, she's lost everyone that she's loved. Her mother, her father, friends, everyone. And you can imagine, for me, I lost my brother. So for her, it was a billion times worse. And she's leaving the last thing she sees is her father dying, leaving the planet. Also, her mother died. Her father's gonna die. Everybody she knows is gonna die. So she's a walking pile of garbage. She doesn't care about anything or anyone, and she doesn't even care about herself. That's the whole point of the gist. That's why I said I relate to it on a certain personal level. You know what I'm saying? So I get why she was like that. But again, that's not going to be something, you know, I don't think a lot of parents would want to show their young daughter in regards to that. So they missed the ball on that. If this wasn't based on the Tom King comic again, and it was an original take on the traditional go lucky, you know, beautiful, drop dead, gorgeous, you know, beautiful blonde hair, you know, sexy tight suit Supergirl. If it was like the traditional way that Supergirl's depicted, then yes, so you could take your daughter to see that Supergirl. But in the case to taking your daughter to see this Tom King movie cinematic different version of a Supergirl down on her luck, I wouldn't say a lot of parents are going to be willing to rush to the theater to show this to their daughter. So they kind of missed the ball on that as well. But in regards to that, so back to the story at hand. Kara's on her ship, and Ruthier followed her to the ship. And just to speed through everything, there was the one funny scene. It was funny to me, even though, again, a lot of people are bitching and complaining about it. Oh, like, why is Supergirl sitting on the toilet peeing with the door open and then falling asleep on the toilet? Bro, guys, she's a freaking mess. She doesn't care about anything, bro. She doesn't care about not a single damn thing, dude. The only thing she has left of Krypton is crypto. That's it. And even in regards to that, she's still dealing with massive issues. So it's like, it was funny, honestly. I'm not gonna lie, it took me back because to see this depiction, again, take away the traditional thought of Supergirl and focus on this Tom King movie version that's even different from the comic. People just want me to admit that they do not like this depiction of Supergirl. And just leave it at that. Not saying it's terrible, but they chose to go a different route with portraying her. And I respect the new original ideas. Zack Snyder did it. A lot of directors do it. They take these characters and put them in different situations, different depictions, different portrayals. This is nothing new. So I was fine with that. But it was funny. She was peeing on the toilet. She nodded off. And then, that was after she saw Ruthier, after Ruthier came to her door and was like, yo, can you help me please? And she's like, oh my gosh, leave me alone. And then she walks in her ship. She's looking around, seeing how filthy it is. Millie Alcock, Supergirl, dude, she's on the toilet. She's peeing, and then again, like, she's like, hey, and then she just wakes up. She's like, oh. So that part was a little bit fun. It was kind of funny. But again, I could see why it pissed off a lot of Supergirl fans, traditional Supergirl fans. And even fans of the Tom King comic, because Supergirl wasn't portrayed to be that sloppy. But I understand, because they're trying to hit it home that she is just that far gone and that she's a mess. So after that, let's just fast forward through that. So again, here comes the editing issues and just the execution. Out of nowhere, Krem just, because she's a Supergirl, Kara is taking Crypto out to use the bathroom, have fun outside, mind you. They're walking away from the ship. Ruthier still following her. And then out of nowhere, Krem just shows up and he just finds her ship. And I'm just like, okay, like, explanation on that. This guy, does he have a homing device on Kara or Ruthier? How did he just show up out of nowhere? Perfect ship to take, perfect timing, out of nowhere. So Krem just out of nowhere is on the ship. Crypto hears them. Crypto's running towards the ship, yada yada. Krem shoots him with the poisonous dart. And then conveniently, even though it's it's compared to the Tom King comic, it just seems kind of ridiculous and convenient that he shoots him with a poisonous dart. In exactly 3 days, he's going to die. And then, exactly, they find an alien witch doctor that tells him Crypto has exactly 3 days. And within that 3 days, they're going to complete the mission, save Crypto, yada yada. I know that's corny, it's ridiculous. And then she's like, people were saying, well, why didn't, Millie take, why did Supergirl not take him to the Yellow Sun? Because if you were listening and paying attention to the movie, the alien witch doctor said he needs to stay still. You cannot move him. It'll worsen the process of the poison spreading. So he was just laying there exactly for 3 days while she's watching him, while they find the antidote and assess for the mission. But yeah, so that's why she can just take him to the Yellow Sun and get him healed, because probably on that journey to there, that would have rushed the process enough to fully kill him. And yes, that's what makes sense to me in that aspect for why she couldn't just take Crypto to the Yellow Sun in regards. And again, I know it's kind of ridiculous, whatever. It was based off the comic in regards to the time frame of him, having left before he would die if they didn't get the antidote. So then her and Ruthier go on the bus. You see a little alien Seth Rogen I'm like, are you kidding me? Is that Seth Rogen, bro? And then you have the see, this part definitely felt very Guardians of the Galaxy. You have the women that came on board the ship, you know, with firstly that part was funny too. It's like it was again, this was a lot of Guardians of the Galaxy James Gunn comedy vibes on this part, you know, because Ruthie and Supergirl, they're on the bus, you know, and then Ruthie, I think she had her sword on the alien's foot. A lot of good practical alien effects. I did like that aspect. It reminded me a little bit of. I really wish more so that this movie delved more on the Fifth Element feel. I wish that this movie felt more like the Fifth Element instead of Guardians of the Galaxy, but it had a little bit of, you know, different, you know, nuances in regards to that. But, you know, Ruthie left her sword on the alien's foot, and Millie, you know, and then Supergirl kind of like the alien roared at Ruthie, and then Supergirl kind of did the same exact roar to the alien, giving an idea that she knows the dialect and the you know, the language in regards to that alien, and she knows her history with that species, and she's like, well, you left her, you know, you leaving your sword on her foot or whatever, that you're basically calling her mother a whore. And I was like, this is stupid, it's funny, but it's like, come on, bro. But it's like, whatever, dude. So that part made me chuckle a little bit, and then, you know, again, this is very Guardians of the Galaxy James Gunn vibe scene. So, you know, you see these full women, I would say robbers come on the bus. You know, I would say, you know, scouters, they're coming on the bus. They're robbing the bus. They want to take all the valuables. And then they see Ruthie with the sword. You know what I'm saying? And they're like, oh, give me that sword. They take Ruthie's sword. Millie's telling, you know, Ruthie, just give her the sword. I got an idea. I got a plan. Give her the sword. They gave she gives the sword to the you know, the robber chicks or whatnot on the bus. And then and then full fashion, James Gunn fashion as well, comedy fashion. She's like, it give me Star-Lord vibes as well. There are certain times that Supergirl did feel like Star-Lord. And again, I see all the gripes. I see all the comparisons. And that's why I said I feel like most of the majority of movie critics are just tired of James Gunn, do not like James Gunn's formula. But again, in my mind, I already saw this coming, so it didn't bother me as much. So obviously, you know, Supergirl did not have a plan at all whatsoever, and she's in. I remember she goes into she's in the ejection part. You know what I'm saying? After she went through after she had the little tussle in the fighting with the women robbers on the ship, she ends up in an ejection compartment of the ship, and she looks at the guy. She looks at the Seth Rogen alien, because Seth Rogen's small. He's like a tiny little alien, and he's basically the driver of the bus. Or he tells the driver. The driver of the bus just looks like he's an instrument listening to Seth Rogen's little alien, and she's telling him like, "Yo, can you tell him?" Because she, in the far distance, you see a yellow sun, and Millie's like, "Yo, can you tell them? Can you pull the bus up a little bit more closer so I can get a little bit closer to the yellow sun?" You know what I'm saying? And he's like, he's like, "Well, I would if I was brave, you know, if I had balls and I had courage, but since I don't have any of that," he's like, no, I'm not doing that." And then she's like, "Damn it." So after that, you know, the woman does see Millie in the ejection compartment, and she hits the button and sends Millie Supergirl out in space. She's, you know, getting iced out. She's getting frozen. And mind you, again, she doesn't have any powers, you know, at all. She's going. She's outer space. She's getting iced up, and then the yellow sun hits her, and then it starts giving her power, starts reviving her, and then more and more she's starting to get, you know, fully Kryptonian up. And that part was pretty epic to me. That part was pretty decent, man. I like the part she's flying through space. It was cool just to see a Kryptonian. You know, also my other issue with Superman 2025 with David, you didn't get a chance to see him flying outer space, like just flying outer space gratefully. The only scene that he had outer space was when he went up for that little moment to get Ultraman and the engineer off him and then dive back. And then also that end credit scene when he's sitting on the moon with Crypto, you know, on hugging him. But I wanted to see him graceful. I wanted to see David gracefully flying through space. I can definitely guarantee you we're going to see that in Man of Tomorrow. But that was just nice to see Kara, Supergirl, flying through space. Again, certain visuals in this movie looked very bad, and certain visuals in this movie looked very good, very just majestic. I liked it. I liked the style. And then you see her, just destroying the women robbers. They had like their ship, and their ship had weapons on it. They had blasters on it. I like the part where she's lasering the blaster, and then she kind of tilted her head a little bit more, and you see the laser from the ship's blaster and her Kryptonian heat vision just going at it, but she tilted her head, put more extra power to it, just destroyed that, and ripped the engine off. I'm like, dude, this is dope. I was like, that's pretty cool. I like that. And then after this, they ask them. She takes them hostage. She's like, where's Krem? Tell them where Krem is. They tell her, where Krem is, his whereabouts, and they go to another bar. And then that was the scene. If you've seen, sometimes I would say, if you want to thoroughly enjoy a movie, extremely thoroughly, at this point, the way Hollywood does sneak peeks, teasers, promos, trailers, they give too much. They give too much away. And purposely, if you guys want to know, I stayed away from, I only saw 2 trailers from Supergirl, and I stayed away from everything else. I stayed away from everything else. And even the trailers for Supergirl revealed too much of the action and too much of the, good scenes. So they got to stop. They got to stop that. And that shows a little bit of, no confidence in the movie when you're showing, if you know that you're showing all the best parts in the movie as a director, and you're like, all right, so we got to leave scenes in the movie for the audience to watch, to really be astounded. You do not want to put all of your good stuff in trailers and previews and sneak peeks, teasers. They got to stop that. You got to have confidence. And again, even the way that was marketed, you could see, and even with Superman, even though Superman did decent, I think they still showed way too much of Superman in the teasers, trailers, promos, and everything. So I stayed away. I've taught myself to just stay away from that. I'll look at a trailer, or I'll look at probably trailer 1 and 2, and then I'm done. I'm not doing it anymore because I want to have all that saved up for my viewing experience in the theater. So basically, fast forward. I don't want to make this video too long. I know I'm already about to hit the 50-minute mark in my 42 minutes. So they go to the bar looking for Krem. They run into aliens. One alien says, hey, I know this girl. She's of royalty, or she's has a bounty, and I want her. And you see that part was, he pulls Ruthier towards him. Supergirl pulls Ruthier back. And then that was the part in the trailer where, you see the big alien, or that was a part of the preview. You see the big alien knocks the smaller alien down, and she wanted to arm wrestle for information. When she gets information, she breaks the big alien's arm, and then you see all the, it reminds you of like the Ravagers. It felt very Guardians of the Galaxy yet again, and then she had the, very Star-Lord, very Guardians of the Galaxy nuances, all the people in the bar, classic trope, they all aim their weapons at her. She's like, this isn't going to end well for you guys, that is. And that was in the trailer. She's beating them up while Ruthier is in the corner. Camera's on Ruthier. You can see all the people flying all over the place, whatever. And then that's when you're introduced to Lobo. Lobo's in the back chilling, smoking a cigar. He comes up to the bar owner, and he's like, have you seen this brigand? His name is, whatever. He has a bounty, Do you know where he is? Are you lying? And they're like, no. Because he's like, I do. It's like, bro, listen. You could, if you're a gigantic fan of Lobo, you can either like Jason Momoa's portrayal or hate it. Because again, when you have dream fan casting, and you got to think about it, bro. Jason Momoa is he's pushing 50. I think he's 40 something years old. Like he's in his late 40s. So if you think about it, I really wish we got Jason Momoa. I would sacrifice Aquaman any day for him to have been Lobo at that time. If we got Jason Momoa in his middle 30s, bro, just playing Lobo when he was at his peak physical condition, because you can see that that body, that he had as Lobo was not entirely his. Very enhanced, cosmetic, practical, if anything, that they had to use to make him beefier than usual. But when he was Aquaman, bro, oh my gosh, he'd have been that was a perfect time for him to have been Lobo. So it shows, but he still did a very, very great job. And like I said in my review, you could tell that he grew up watching and knowing of Lobo and being a fan of Lobo if he ever wanted to be in a superhero film or whatnot. So he did play very good as Lobo to me. Probably not to other, comic lovers and big fans of Lobo, but to me, from what I've seen Lobo growing up with animated series and, the Lobo on the animated movie Superman Man of Tomorrow, he damn near played very, very good as Lobo, as close as he could in his age now and what he had to offer and what the script gave him. And also, I'll be honest with you, his motorcycle was moving pretty cool, but I will be very honest with you. And it feels like that motorcycle that he had kind of gave me vibes of the animated series, the animated series with Bruce Timm, the Superman animated series. That Lobo in the animated series, that motorcycle, kind of probably gave inspiration to that motorcycle. But dude, the motorcycle that Lobo had, bro, in Superman, Man of Tomorrow, that was cool. That was dope. I kind of wish that they made his motorcycle a little bit cooler. But again, that's just a little nitpick. But that's about it with Lobo. So he runs into Supergirl Ruthier. They try to ask him to see, they were trying to play it off because Ruthier is like, do not look him in the eye. Don't. And I also wish that they gave him full red eyes. I didn't care to see just a little pupil as a red eye. I wish that they just went, it's like, dude, go for it. Go all the way. Give him pitch red eyes. That would have been so cool, dude. So dope. I wish that they went with that look. Very cosmetic, nitpicky problems that I had with Lobo. But again, the performance that Jason Momoa gave was still pretty cool. So, Lobo leaves, whatnot. And then the owners of the bar, tell them that, oh, we can help you guys look for Krem. And then off rip, as soon as Supergirl and Ruthier go with the bar owner, him and his wife, to their place, and they're telling them, oh, so how long will they be here? Oh, it'll be a few hours. It's like, dude, again, if you're a movie lover, you can already tell when someone's about to be betrayed, someone's about to get double-crossed, if someone's about to die. Being a movie critic, and even some smarter movie goers would know, like, okay, they're about to betray y'all. What the freak? And you're kind of like Supergirl being so oblivious and just so... Because if you think about it, Ruthier was oblivious to revenge, and Supergirl was oblivious to just desperation and just saving her dog and not really having a thorough plan. Obviously, she's not no strategist. She's just to beat him up, get the mission done or whatever, get the mission done sloppily, beat up whoever I gotta beat up, get this antidote and save my dog. So there was no clear-cut thinking between Ruthier or Supergirl at that time, just mainly throughout the movie. And it makes sense because the stage of where Supergirl is at and Ruthier being young and just full of revenge, tunnel vision on Krem, a lot of stupid decisions were made, or a lot of critical thinking wasn't being apparent to them at the time when they were at the bar couple's home. So immediately, when they offered her tea, firstly, bro, it's like, I get, like, in that case, again, the way that the script was executed, it was just kind of just like, bro, come on, like, y'all can at least make it a little bit more convincing that she's not noticing that they're being set up or that they're not going to betray them. It's like, dude, and again, being that movie critical thinking brain, you're like, dude, if that was me, I would not fall for that crap. You feel me? But that's just to move the plot forward and move the movie forward. So Supergirl drinks the tea, and it's poison. So Supergirl gets poisoned by the bartender and his wife because Krem has their daughter. Now, mind you, I don't know if it was missed, but I have to... Let me do this. What was Krem of the Yellow Hills in Supergirl 2026 main mission? because it's like I have to know. Like, yes, he's a brutal leader of the Brigands, a gang of intergalactic space pirates and human traffickers. His actions, murdering a young girl's family, poisoning. Okay. So Krem casually murders the. Yes, he and steals Supergirl. Okay, yeah. Seeking vengeance. Okay. So yes, he's just a brutal leader, bro. Yes, he's the leader of the Brigands. He's brutal intergalactic space pirates that and their human traffickers. So I wouldn't really say that their main mission was just to straight up kill little girls. You know what I'm saying? Or, their main mission is just to that's what I said, it's sick, bro. It's very sick, and it was very bold and sometimes even uncomfortable, with the things that he was doing. And that's why I was like, it was a bold swing that Warner Brothers and DC took with a villain, with making Krem of the Yellow Hills from the comic in that form and fashion for the movie. I'm like, that's bold, bro. That's really bold. So he basically took the bartender and the bartender couples. They took his daughter, and they promised that they will offer up, I think what did they say, two girls in exchange for one, or, just to bring her in to Krem, basically, since they were searching for him, because they were supposed to meet him anyway. So the double cross happens. Supergirl's poisoned, so the poison is just disrupting her powers. And in regards to that, also, I'm assuming that, because if anything, I know that planet had a yellow sun, but in my mind, the poison, I don't know if it was Kryptonian poison or poison enough to affect her Kryptonian powers. Again, the script didn't really fully explain, but when you have someone as powerful as Supergirl or Superman, you have to be very critical and nitpicky on how you depower them, because again, that's the problem with Superman and Supergirl and Kryptonians in general. You have to find a sensible and explanatory way and critical explanation way on how their powers are depowering, how this enemy can do this to them when they're damn near gods, when they're one of the strongest, when they are, dang it, no, when Kryptonians are the strongest beings in all of the galaxies. You have to know how to plan and explain how that poison or how this is happening, how their powers are in waves and de-escalating. So the poison is affecting Supergirl and her powers. The Brigands come. They come in to take Supergirl. They're trying to, get Ruthie. And Supergirl, again, see, this is where it comes in. It's like Supergirl has her powers. It's in waves. She has the power, but she's not at full power. Her powers are being affected, but she still has enough powers to get the job done. So she's fighting the Brigands in their house. Krem has a hold of her. So, and yeah, even the women, the women pirates on the when the women pirates that were attacking the bus or robbing the bus told Supergirl that Krem has the strength of 1,000 men. And when you think about it, you're like, 1,000 men, okay, so like what's the strength of 1,000 men to a Kryptonian, my boy? Like, stop it, like, come on. But when you see Krem fighting Millie, you do get the sense of knowing that if you really pay attention, Krem cannot beat Supergirl straight up at her full potential. So it's like every time he comes at mitts with her, he has a little strategy plan to weaken her, or she's always at a weakened state when they're fighting. So obviously when Krem is fighting her, he's winning because he has just enough in the tank to take care of a weakened, Supergirl, or a disrupted powered Supergirl. So I understand why he was getting the best of her. But still, Supergirl was still, having her powers. She's beating up his henchmen, which makes sense because he's still top dog. He's the strongest out of all the Brigands. So, but when she's in a weakened state and fighting him, it's an issue because, again, he's the strongest out of all of them, and he has enough strength to get the job done with fighting a very weakened, a very weakened powers here, powers off Supergirl. So after that, he gets a hold of Supergirl. He bashes her through the wall. They're fighting. They get outside, and this part I was like, oh my gosh, like just savagery at its finest, sadistic. You can say probably for a lot of movie critics, they would say that it's kind of weak, or it's just kind of what would you say? It is just a weak, desperate attempt on making Krem a vicious villain because later, when they're fighting and they fight outside of the bar couple's house, he gets a hold of the because you see the daughter falls out of the ship that falls carrying the little girls and the human trafficking cargo falls, and their daughter gets out, and from what I remember, and he gets a hold of the daughter. He runs into the daughter and the parents as well, because the daughter and the parents meet up, and then Krem finds them, and Supergirl's busy in a weakened state fighting the henchmen. Ruth Ye is, in the fray of things, but well, in the thick of things. But Krem runs into the parents while they run into the daughter. And dude, he kills the parents, picks the daughter up, and I think he slits the daughter's throat. And I'm like, bro, that's a little girl, bro. I'm like, oh my gosh. I'm like, this dude is just he's Satan himself. It's just, the stuff that he does, it just kind of, for me, kind of picks up the slack in a small way. Cause dude, the stuff that he does is just sadistic. He's a evil. He's one of the most sickest villains that I can remember. Like, you wasn't seeing Willem Dafoe's Green Goblin or Thanos doing it. Like, this dude's killing parents and their little kids. He's human trafficking little girls, bruh. I'm like, this is filthy sick. This guy is sick. So he kills the parents and I like the contrast of Ruthie seeing the little girl, the parents and the little girl, kills them, because now it gives shades on what she's going through as well. So Ruthie gets mad with Supergirl because she's like, we could have stopped him, because Supergirl stopped Ruthie from, trying to attack Krem with the sword, because Ruthie was sneaking up behind Krem on the rooftop and was gonna, try to cut his head off with the sword. And then, Supergirl stopped her, because obviously Krem would have definitely stopped her at that moment and probably killed her as well. And then and Supergirl stops her and is flying with her, and then they crash and land. And then Supergirl's like, this is not the way. Vengeance is not the way. And I'm gonna speed ball it more because I'm about to hit the hour mark. Freak. I'm just talking. So, Supergirl's like, this isn't the way. Vengeance is not the way. All that other stuff. And then Ruthie's like, well, you're not the person that I thought you were. You're not the hero that I thought you were, basically. And then she runs off. And then Supergirl, there was the one scene. I did like that scene as well, too. She flies up in space and she yells, and then you see the tear fly off. It's like that was a nice caveat. I really do like that. And her screaming in space, obviously you can't hear her because she's in space. I'm like, cool touch. What I really like about this movie as well is seeing, Argo City, and just seeing Krypton. Well, seeing Krypton, at its final moments with the flashback. And then you just see the Kryptonian language, the dialect. It's like, I'm a sucker for origin stories and rising up stories, and a hero who's down on his luck in the gutter, rising up to the occasion, seeing the flashbacks of their origins, where they came from, their values, the values that they were raised upon. Because again, even then, you know, it was just so cool to see, Zor-El and I forgot the mom's name, but Zor-El and Supergirl's mom, and just how they raised Supergirl with their morals and how they saw things. And you know it was just cool to see again the destruction of Krypton. And then you see, they double down on Jor-El being a tyrant again, or not even being a tyrant, just an oppressor, and him being evil, and what he wanted Kal-El, aka Superman, to be an instrument to take over other planets and universes, to spread Kryptonian stronghold strength over the universes. So because they see, they see, a Cal's ship fly past when, Krypton is being destroyed, and you hear Zor-El say, "Oh, there goes Cal's pod," There, and I think he says Jor-El's conqueror of worlds, something like that, and I'm like, oh, so they double down. Yes, that was not Brainiac tampering with that message in Superman 2025. He legit Jor-El, and it's solidified. Jor-El and his, Cal's parents, Superman's parents, are evil. Period. It's solidified. And then you see basically uh, all the people of Argos, they go into this compartment or a part of their city, and he presses a machine that basically is like a force field with its own gravitation, and it saves their city. It breaks off from Krypton, so Krypton is destroyed, but Argo City is still intact for still intact. But mind you, due to the departure and due to Krypton being destroyed, I think the movie explained to where it released Kryptonian airborne disease and kryptonite exposure airborne, and within the core itself that was exposed due to the destruction of Krypton. So it was killing the people of the city, and then it killed Supergirl's mom. It was just sad, seeing Supergirl just stand there and just see her mother just getting sick, dying, and the mom saying, no matter what happens, I want you to be good. You know what I'm saying? And because they never really wanted to send Kara off, and they didn't want to send her to Earth to have the same godlike power as Kal. They didn't care for her to be that be that instrument, or just to have that much power and weight. So I liked that aspect. But they, at the end of the day, once the mother died, Jor-El was like, you know what, screw it, I'm gonna send you off. I can't have you. You're everything to me. You are us. I'm gonna send you off. I'm not gonna allow you to stay here and die and be eradicated like the rest of us. And even in the movie, Kara was like, I'm not leaving. If you guys are dying, I'm dying. I do not want to live in a world without you guys. I don't want to have a life without you guys. Even then, that shows you, again, she didn't care to live. She would have stayed there and died. She didn't care. So, but the dad sent her off, put her in the pod, and he's like, I'm gonna send you off. And then you see puppy baby Crypto. He puts baby Crypto in the pod with her, sends her off. And then the flashback with David Cornsweet in this movie, the scenes that David had in this movie. Again, people don't like the goofy, awkward, timid, aspect of David in this film. But I think it kind of hits home to where, when you think about it, we're seeing Superman, right? But in that moment, Superman is not seeing himself as Superman while he's talking to his cousin. He is becoming a mixture of Kal. He's basically Clark Kent, but Kal at the same time, because he's being him and also seeing a family member of his. So he's not Superman at that moment. You see him trying to be Superman, but he's still trickling down to good old Clark Kent, Kal, because he's seeing a family member. He's like, oh man, I'm not alone anymore, And then he sees that she's talking Kryptonian. He's like, I can't speak. It's just, dude, again, people's going to have their gripes about Superman. I definitely had my gripes about David Superman in Superman 2025. But if you haven't seen the video of when David and James got it into just a heated debate in regards to that speech that he gave at the end of Superman 2025, you can definitely see that David is a huge, huge fan of Superman. He knows his material. I love David as Superman, and I hope that they do him justice in Man of Tomorrow. But I really did also love him in this movie as well. He came off as like a soft-spoken, just gentle giant to Kara, because he knows that she's a fish in water. He just wants to make her feel at home. So he's just kind of like, he's like, oh yes. He's just like, this is the fortress. You gotta live here. We're gonna get you a part of the city. You're gonna love it here. He's excited. He's timid. He's nervous. So in that moment, you don't see Superman. That's the whole point. He's not gonna be like, hi, Kara. It's me, Kal, your cousin. Welcome to Earth. You're gonna love it here. I don't speak Kryptonian. I don't speak Kryptonian. Even though I know people are mad that he doesn't speak Kryptonian. That kind of irked me a little bit too, but makes sense in the story of things. It's like, why would he want to really learn well, he wouldn't be learning Kryptonian. He wouldn't want to learn a dead language. So I'm guessing in that mindset and in that storytelling, it's like, why would he want to learn Kryptonian language? I know he knows Kryptonian heritage, probably to a degree, but I guess he didn't think and care to learn the language because he's like, I'm the only survivor anyway, so why would I want to learn the language? So now he sees Kara, and he's like, Kara, and he's like, oh yeah, you speak Kryptonian. I'm sorry, I don't speak it. I know, again, people love the depiction of what James is doing with the universe, and some people just hate it. You either love it or you hate it, how he depicts Superman and the characters and whatnot. So, and I like the part, dude, he just exudes, the Christopher Reeve vibe Superman, just like how I felt with Brandon Routh. And it was cool to see, man. Every time I saw David in the movie, I was like, all right, we get it, guy. You're Superman. You love Superman. I smiled. I'm like, he's got it. He gets it. He's got it. He's the Boy Scout for sure. He gets it. And then so to rush this on, because again, I could talk about this movie for another good 30, 40 minutes, but I'm going to wrap it up as soon as possible. So in regards to the flashbacks, you get to the point to where, Supergirl gets captured and Krem sends her off to, and again, that shows how sadistic and evil and disgusting yet Krem is. He's not quick. He likes to play with his food. He likes to play with his food, and then sometimes he likes to kill his food off immediately. He's just all over the place. You don't know what to expect from him. He kind of gives off a Joker vibe, but with no backstory, no filler, really much of anything. He's just an agent of chaos. That's all he is. So he sends Supergirl to a planet that has a kryptonite sun. And then when I saw that, and I'm like, man, is this a new creation, an original take? Because I never knew there was a kryptonite sun. I'm like, that's interesting. That's pretty. I like that. In my head, I'm like, so how did this sun become to be? Is the kryptonite sun is this a piece of Krypton? And did it mutate into a living version of a sun? And so, like, there was a piece of Krypton, a huge chunk of kryptonite that mutated into a giant sun. I'm like, or has this always just been around? Like, that's interesting. So I was like, okay, that's interesting. So he sends her to this planet, so obviously waiting for her to just die, because obviously it's gonna kill her. It's Kryptonite's son. So he basically thought that he just sent her off to her death. So Ruthye, bro, I'm like, dude, this chick is, in my eyes, it's like certain scenes and certain. That's why I said the pacing and execution of the film and the script as well is just a conglomeration of not serving the movie any favors, not serving the character any favors. Because it's like the part where Ruthie just comes out of nowhere and just drags her to the cave. I can understand that. She probably sneaked on the ship and got off the ship to make sure Supergirl was all right. And then she drags her, to the cave. You see, Millie's body just with the green veins, kryptonite poison veins in her body. Shades of, how David kind of obviously looked in Superman 2025. You see the green veins, the pulsating, the gangrene, if you will, of kryptonite poisoning in the body. And then while she's suffering in the cave, she's thinking about her memories, her past. She's thinking about crypto. She's thinking about when she was, in Earth. I would have liked to see more of that as well. Again, if they would have added 30 to 40, I wouldn't. If this movie was 2.5 hours, I felt like it would have probably improved the movie so things could be more fleshed out. We could see more scenes with Ruthie's parents, see more scenes, backstory to Krem, what makes him really tick, more scenes with David and Kara. It would have been cool to see David and Kara flying. She's teaching her how to fly. Like, dude, it's like, again, bro, I couldn't be in the writer's room because I would have easily saved this movie, bro. This movie just, again, the runtime, the execution, the editing, and and also the script that sometimes really is what holds this movie back. There was an epic, beautiful film hiding within this movie. But again, I mind you, I still won't say that this movie is utter garbage. It's not utter garbage. But again, I could see why people would call it utter garbage. It all depends on your standard and in your perspective to watching a film and how you think a film should be. But dude, there was so much potential to make this movie an A, bro. For sure. It could have been an easy A if they took a different direction in editing, pacing, execution, visuals as well. Because I really wish, even though I understand why they had the Mad Max feel and okay, see, I'm going to hour 10. I'm going to try to wrap this up in like 10 to 20 minutes, guys. But I get why they had the Mad Max, just dark pitch, gritty vibe to it, gray, dull color palette to the movie, because I guess they wanted the atmosphere to match Supergirl's energy, her vibe, the feeling, the dread of Krem just going around causing havoc, killing parents, children. Ruthye going through her depression, her revenge. Supergirl going through grief, depression, and just self-deletion, if you will, just living self-deletion, even though she doesn't say that she wants to offer self. That's just the soul and spirit that she gives off. So I get why the atmosphere matched it, but due to them depicting this off the Tom King comic, that was very colorful. I saw some of the pictures, one of the most beautiful colors that I've seen for certain comics, and I wish they delved in that. But again, with the movie being, this is the shortest runtime I think for the DC. Is this the shortest DCU movie or the shortest DC movie in history? Because they said that this movie was cut. You could definitely see that this movie was cut and chopped, and at this point, just give us the whole freaking movie. If that cut time could have saved that movie, leave it alone, bro. Because watch what happens when this movie comes on DVD or streaming, and they say the Supergirl director's cut. Watch how the director cut improves this movie. That's why I said Supergirl feels like shades of Batman versus Superman, because the director's cut of Batman versus Superman actually made the movie a little bit better. And I guarantee you, if there's a director's cut to Supergirl, it's going to make this movie 10 a little bit more better. I'm not going to say it's going to make it an A movie or it's going to make it epic or glorious, but it's going to fill in the holes in certain scenes, because you can definitely see the harsh editing that was in this movie. But again, you see, Kara, she's going through her memories, her emotions, and she's dying in the cave. She's fighting to try to stay alive. She's fighting to want to save Krypto, the last piece of Krypton that she has left. And, she's gasping for air and she's, dying. And then you see, and I know people say, and again, this comes with the execution and the writing. It was kind of dumb and convenient at the same time that the Kryptonite sun, went down. The time was done for the Kryptonite sun, so it went down, and then up comes a yellow sun to give her powers. So it's like, I like the contrast, I get it, but it was kind of too convenient and kind of corny as well, and kind of like, all right, come on, y'all. Conveniently, she was dying from the Krypton sun, and just in time, the Krypton sun comes down, the yellow sun comes up. People need to understand, too, that movies are a sense of poetry. It's a sense of poetry. Thus is gone, thus is here. Light as day, bright as light. It's poetry. It's storytelling. Yes, it's classic tropes. The hero's about to die, gets power, rises up, and now the mission's complete. He or she is the hero that they need to be. It's just superhero tropes. I get it. It was kind of corny, but I was like, all right, cool. The yellow sun comes out. She's back to full power. And then there's also the scene. This is one of my favorites. This is one of my funniest scenes too, bro. There's also the part where Ruthye was captured. Ruthye got herself to be captured by Krem. Basically, she gets captured. Well, I don't think she basically got captured, and she gets locked up. And you see Lobo in the other cellar. So if people don't understand, Lobo is damn near just as powerful as Superman, right? I'm not gonna say that he's more powerful than Superman. No, no, like, but he's just as powerful as Superman. But Superman not holding back, Superman would still defeat Lobo. But dude, I don't think people understand what Lobo's character. Lobo's character is goofy. He is deranged. He is just weird, and he is just he's super and he's funny, and he has very dark comedic timing because people don't understand why did Lobo get himself captured. It was like shades of the animated series Lobo when the Collector captured him. You know what I'm saying? Because he did a deal with the Collector, but he got captured. Doesn't mean he's weak. He likes to put himself in stupid, weird situations in accordance to a strategy to collect the bounty, whatever have you. He got himself caught. He was captured by the brigands because he has a bounty for that specific brigand. So it's like he does off the wall stupid things. And this part was funny to me where Ruthier tricked the guard to take her to Krem. And you know what I'm saying? Because Krem did visit Ruthier and he's like, I need you to tell me where your friend is. Your friend for your freedom, yeah? Again, he's such a one-dimensional, stupid character, but I'm like, dude, at this point, I'm like, I'm just going with the flow here watching it. I'm like, this guy is just stupidly funny and just stupidly wackily bad funny, but his one-liners just got me. He's like, and then Ruthier just spits in his face like a G, and he's like, oh, okay, okay, okay. He's like, we will kill you soon, and just he leaves, and I'm just like, this guy. And then so Ruthier tricks the guard because she told the guard, please get Krem. I promise I'll be good. I'll tell him where Kara is. I'll tell him where she is. Please help me get him out. And then the other guard's like, dude, get your fat ass up and go, let her out and go take her to Krem, whatever, whatnot. And then mind you, it makes sense because the most, out of shape guard goes to Ruthier to get her out the chains, and then for the spur of the moment, even though it makes sense too, because you got to think about it, it's like Ruthier is still young, but you could still see that she is kind of capable in that time. You got to think about it. When adrenaline is rushing and something has to be done, and you just go off adrenaline and you just do it. When Ruthier put her legs around the guard and she's just like tightening that grip. And I'm not gonna lie, I started to root for her. I'm like, yo, I was like, tighten that motherfucker. I'm like, choke his ass out. And then that part was funny too, because while she was choking the guard out, you just see Jason Momoa. This is the most Lobo this was when I was like, all right, this is the most Lobo thing he's done in the movie, and I was like, I can see what you're doing, Jason. I was like, I like that. That was very Lobo. You just see Lobo in his cell, in his jail cell. He's like just watching her just choke him out, and he's like, yes. He's like, all right. He's like, yeah. He's like, oh, get him. He's just amping her up, basically cheerleading her on, and then she just puts the guard to sleep, chokes him out. And then that part was funny. She runs out, and then he's like, "Hey, come on!" He's like basically like, "You're forgetting something." And then she lets him loose and frees him, and she's like, "Are you gonna help me out?" And he's like, "Yeah, sure, yeah." He's like, "Well, yeah, I'll help you out now." And then she lets him out the cell, gets the key. Even though, again, it's like you would think that Lobo could literally just Lobo can easily break out of there, but it's like he's a goofy, weird, deranged, just on for the ride type of guy. He's not gonna do what you think that he should do. That's just who he is. So she lets him out. She's like, "Gonna help me?" And he's like, "Oh yeah, I'll help you out, yeah." And then she frees him, and he's like, "All right, I'm gonna get my hawk, and I'm gonna cut some and break him down." And I'm like, "All right, bro. All right." I'm like, "All right, dude." It's like, yeah, that's Lobo right there. I'm like, he won me over with that part. And then, all right, and then you see when Supergirl's all healed up. I don't care what nobody says, dude. As messy as that was, people could call Millie ugly. Beauty is in the eye of the beholder. But bro, when Millie put the suit on and she flew up, just in time to where, Ruthier was, when Krem gets Ruthier, and he was, obviously about kill her, send her overboard, from what I remember. I just, dude, that part, like, dude, you can hear the Supergirl score while she's like flying and doing epic things. So even though I hate that coming on, even they didn't even play the call me thing as much in there. They had the rift of it, but the needle dropping in the movie, just please, James, stop. James Gunn, please stop with the needle droppers. You can do a needle, one or two needle drops, and make sure it really vibes with the situation. But bro, when I heard the score for Supergirl in here, I'm like, bro, please focus on the scores. Give the scores room for the movie. You can have one or two needle drops, whatever, but then the score needs to have the movie. I'm tired of hearing modern artists' songs play through superhero films. It's just very counterproductive when you have epic scores. We need heroic scores, villainous scores for the villain, heroic scores for the hero. And then, you see Millie Alcock in the suit. And, dude, at that moment, I was like, to me, I was like, dude, she looks so just sweet and beautiful and just angelic at certain moments in the movie when when she had the suit on and she smiles and she looks at the camera and she's flying. Even though some people felt like, again, it didn't feel earned for her to put the suit on and fly off and feel that way. I'm like, and again, it all depends on how you depict the movie and how you say what you think the movie should be and how it should have went. But watching it again, me not having a single shred of expectations. I came in the movie theater thinking the worst of this film. I heard people bombing it, saying it's trash, it's garbage, it's dog juice. I'm like, all right. And I sit down, I got my popcorn. I'm like, let's get over this. And then throughout the movie, I'm like, that could have been better, but I like that. That was cute. That was a nice moment. That was chopped. Oh, those visuals don't look that good. That visual look cool. It's like, and through the movie, I'm like, oh, that's bad. Oh, that was really cool. Okay, that was kind of funny. Oh man, they could have done better with that. Dude, we could have had more time with that. Oh, that was pretty cool. Okay, I like that. Oh man, that was pretty nice. Oh man, it's kind of getting a little slow. It's getting a little boring. Oh man, that was pretty cool. It's like it was the balance between the pros and the cons in this movie was enough pros to make me not crap all over this movie, because I thought the movie was going to be 1,000 times worse, but it really wasn't when I was sitting there watching the movie. Not only with my half of my critic brain on, but half of my movie going brain as well, because I already had an expectation of abysmal proportions going in. And then when I thought about it, when the credits hit, I was like, this movie was not really that bad. It wasn't terrible, but it wasn't epic, but it was a little bit better than what I perceived on what I expected. But watching Millie, and her heat vision blast was thick. I like how they also show shades of Supergirl being more powerful than Superman with the things that she did, and the size of her heat vision. That thing was like, dude, it blew a giant hole. That the heat vision was like on overload at one point when she freed when she used her heat vision to free the human the trafficking girls, the little girls, and she freed them. And I like it because I like the part where she's using the see-through and she was flying through the ship. I'm like, dude, this movie had so much potential. That's why I came to the grade that I gave, because I'm like, dude, I could really see a awesome, epic movie in here. Certain visuals, I'm like, and you see her flying in the ship, I'm like, that looks cool, bro. She's flying cool. Dude, some of her flying scenes, dude, and so she had the action visual flying scenes. that look just as cool, if not cooler than Superman in 2025. And then you see her using that blast. And you see, bro, the part, what I liked is, like, you could definitely see that she's a way better fighter than David Cornsweat's Superman, bro. I'm not gonna lie, bro. She was throwing hands, but she's kicking, she's flipping. I'm like, she's throwing hands, bro. And the part where she was dodging those female robber ships blast, she's moving like a super, like, dude, I'm talking Super Saiyan stuff. She's moving quick, you feel me? Dodging quick. And she's throwing hands, bro. I'm like, she's kicking, she's flipping, she's flying gracefully, but also badass at the same time in certain parts. Dude, I'm like, bruh, I can't take it away from her. Millie Alcock brought the emotion, and she kind of showed up and showed out. Also, with help of stunt double and visuals and the action sequences, she kind of gave me what I was wanting from David Superman. That's why I'm like, hey, I'm like, calm down, girl. So, yeah, I liked that. It wasn't perfect by any stretch of the imagination, but she went above and beyond on on my expectations on what I expected to see in the movie, bro. Millie did an extraordinary job. And you could call her ugly all you want. You know, if she for all you fat virgins and neck bearded freaks calling her ugly, if Millie Alcock came to your door right now and dropped her clothes off, you would thrash her brains out. But that's not happening because she wouldn't touch you with a 10-foot pole. And also, you're a weak, insecure little man and a weak, insecure woman. Because, mind you, I'm not an advocate on attacking someone's looks. If you don't like what they say, their ideals, whatever, but I'm not going to sit here and attack someone's looks. I'm like, dude, what are we in kindergarten? What are we, 5? You're grown-ass people calling the girl ugly when clearly it's all about the eye of the beholder. If you think she's ugly, fine, but you don't need to go on the internet and spout that she's ugly, sir or ma'am. Get a freaking life. She's got more money than you. Yes, but she's ugly, though. So, yeah, but besides that, man, dude, just seeing that part, bro, just when she's beating up the brigands and she's got the suit on, she's doing, in certain scenes when she's flying, does look kind of bad. You could see CGI, you could see green screen, but then certain parts when she's flying, I'm like, dang. I like how she just does this part when she flied. I'm like, dude, there's just so much potential and so much little scenes where I'm like, man, this movie could have been epic, man. There's so much. Here's the thing. There was so much bad in here, but there was also a equivalent amount of good to the bad, and certain scenes with the good that I saw that raised it a little bit above as bad as I wanted to say this movie was. That's where I stand with the movie. But, you know, at the end here as well, you know, she beats up all the brigands, takes them out, she cleans clock, bro. Cleaning the clock, she's taking them out. And I love it. It's funny how David Superman did the pinwheel move with Engineer, with Ultraman when he's spinning and, you know, bashing Engineer on the ground. And then Kara does the same thing with Krem. She takes Krem and she starts spinning and bashing him on the ground. But she does it more savage than David did. She did that thing with velocity, bro. She was smashing this man. I love it. The Supergirl in here, she don't play, bro. When she gets passionate and she's about eradicating evil, she don't play. She kills to keeps, my guy. She ain't worried about you. She knows that these brigands are pure evil, and she was taking them out. She was wiping them out. She doesn't hold back. Superman holds back. She doesn't hold back. I like the contrast they did. He's brightful, he's hopeful, she's down, and she's depressed, and she's more on the darker side of town. Light and dark. I like the contrast. They did it well. And the end solidifies their contrast. The end solidifies their differentiation. So when she takes out all the brigands, oh gosh, and this, dude, it's like, bro, why? And this is the only one part that truly pissed me off with this movie. She's doing all these epic things. She does the slow-mo and kicks the brigand guy in the face that was about to grab Ruthier. You see that part in the trailer. And bruh, James, I think Craig even said that that was James' idea for that last needle drop. Really, bro? You gonna really play that while this epic slow-mo stuff is going on? It just takes some time, a little bit of that. I said, what the frick? You could have easily put the Supergirl score in crescendo, make it powerful, meaningful, instead of that needle drop crap. You could have had it like while she's fighting in slow-mo and saves Ruthie, grabs her, but yet you play it just takes some time. I'm like, James, whatever you're smoking or drinking, put it down. Cause I can tell, cause I think Greg said that that last needle drop. I think that was reported uh, that was influenced with by James Gunn or whatnot. Whether it was Craig's idea or James' idea, that really was like, come on, y'all, come on, man. You had one assignment. That's why I see why people don't like the movie whatsoever, because all the potential that this movie had, and that the potential was so easy to grab. You can almost touch it, you can almost taste it. So I see why, and I do see why people don't like the film. I can see why people hate the film. But for all the neck bearded, fat, overgrown, grown ass men, virgins, freaks, incels, weirdos saying that this movie is abysmal, come on, sir. You're free. Come on. And again, that's your opinion. I don't mind your opinion. You could call it abysmal all you want. But every time I go on YouTube and these same weird, fat, man-child freaks and hating ass females making a Supergirl bashing video every day, ever since the movie, before the movie came out and after the movie came out, these people are dropping hate videos for Supergirl every day. 2 videos a day, 1 video a day. I'm like, do you have a life? Or did Millie Alcock kill your family? Is that why you hate them so much? Or they hate James Gunn that as well? So this is and that too, it's the Snyder cult and the James Gunn haters and all the weird fat freak incels, whatever. They have, it's like they have the perfect bait. They're like, yes, Supergirl failed. Now we're gonna squeeze it dry. We're gonna squeeze all the box office failure, all the box office numbers. We're gonna squeeze it dry. Squeeze it dry. But also, man, let me speed this up because I'm 3% on the camera left, man. But man, listen, that last needle drop, besides that, I still really liked how it ended. And yes, Supergirl did kill Krem because she didn't want Ruthie to have that on her conscience and her soul. Because you got to think about it. Kara is like, hey, my soul is what it is. I'm at peace with who I am and what I'm about to do here. Because Supergirl, everything she loves is gone. All she has is crypto, and obviously she'll grow to love Cal, but realistically at the moment, her soul is very tainted. Not saying that it's not her soul. Her soul is tainted, but it still has room to be redeemed. So she didn't want that on Ruth's conscience and on her soul. She kills Krem, slits his throat. You didn't really see blood. That was my only also gripe too. I'm like, did you slit his throat or stab his throat? But there was no blood. I'm like, come on, y'all. Show that blood gushing. But I get it. Krem does not deserve to live. He is pure evil. She took him out. She got the job done. I'm on Supergirl with that. I'm a guy to where if you're evil, my guy, Joker, you're dead. I'm killing Krem. If you're that maniacal and sick, I'm killing you. I'm not doing this, putting you in jail. You come out, kill 10 people. You kill 1,000 people, put you back in jail again. No, you're executed. You're dead. She said, this is for Ruthie's family, and this is for my dog. Often. I'm like, hey, baby, I feel her on that. I'm on that type of time as well. But, hey, and at the end, Ruthie and her depart ways, but they still have fun at the end. They fly off in her ship. And then you see, Millie go to David's place. He's like, hey, I could have used your help with this guy. And he's just sitting there like, she's like, you know what? I think I'm gonna be here for a while now. And he's just smiling at her. He's like, all right, cool. And then you see Crypto in his kitchen making a mess of things, and the movie ends. Again, as a movie-going experience mindset, a movie-going experience grade, I give it a B minus. But a critical movie critic brain, my movie critic grade is C plus, and my movie-going grade is a B minus. Again, this movie has a lot of flaws, but I had a decent fun time with it. Thank you guys for watching. This is Cassidy and Stirrup. This is my spoiler review of Supergirl. I love you guys so much, and I hope you guys enjoy this spoiler depiction and spoiler discussion.